Crocodile Dundee turns 38 this year. The movie itself seems frozen in time, a classic Aussie snapshot trapped on celluloid. But unlike the film, the cast can't escape aging. So, what have our favorite stars from Crocodile Dundee been up to since that sweltering summer of 1986? Paul Hogan as Mick Crocodile Dundee. The beloved character of Michael J. Crocodile Dundee, affectionately known as Mick, is a fictional protagonist in the Crocodile Dundee film series. Portrayed by the talented Paul Hogan, Mick is a crocodile hunter, as his nickname suggests, and was modeled on the real-life figure of Rodney Ansell. Hogan's journey to stardom began with a surprise appearance on Australian television in 1971. He charmed his way onto the Nine Network's amateur talent program, New Faces, claiming to be a tap-dancing knife thrower. This unique persona captivated audiences and set Hogan on a path to success. Building on this momentum, Hogan created and starred in his own comedy sketch program, The Paul Hogan Show. Produced and written by Hogan himself, the series featured a collaboration with Cornell and Delvine Delaney. The Paul Hogan Show ran for 60 episodes from 1973 to 1984, gaining popularity not only in Australia but also in the UK, where it aired on Channel 4 from 1982 onward, and in South Africa. The series left its mark with its signature lighthearted and playful ochre humor. Hogan's talent was recognized early on, and he received the 1973 TV Week Logie Award for Best New Talent. The series initially aired on Channel 7, moving to Channel 9 in 1975, where it found its home until the end of its run in 1984. In 2016, Hogan's contributions to Australian cinema were honored with the prestigious Longford Lyle Award. Hogan humbly joked that he considered himself a one-hit wonder. This led to Australia's 7 Network commissioning a 2-part miniseries based on Hogan's life, titled Hogan's The Paul Hogan Story, which aired in February 2017. The miniseries starred Australian actor Josh Lawson as Hogan. In anticipation of Hogan's 80th birthday in 2019, Australia's ABC network produced a 2-part episode of Australian Story, titled A Fortunate Life, Paul Hogan. This special featured Hogan and his family reflecting on his remarkable life and career. Building on his iconic character, Hogan starred in the 2020 film The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee, playing a fictionalized version of himself as an aging, out-of-touch actor. The film humorously explored how his legendary character, Mick Dundee, had become a monetized and manipulated figure. More recently, in 2023, Hogan participated in a lighthearted roast in the TV special titled The Roast of Paul Hogan, where he embraced the humor and camaraderie of the event. David Gulpilil as Neville Bell. David Gulpilil's big break came in 1969. A British director named Nicholas Roeg was searching for filming spots in Australia when he spotted Gulpilil's amazing tribal dancing skills. Roeg took a chance on the 16-year-old unknown and cast him in a leading role for his movie Walkabout, 1971. This was a huge deal. It was the first time ever that an Aboriginal character was shown as attractive and interesting. Gulpilil's natural charm, combined with his acting and dancing talent, made him an instant star, not just in Australia, but around the world. He traveled the globe, met famous people like John Lennon and Bob Marley, and even rubbed shoulders with world leaders. During this time promoting the film, he was particularly impressed by some: John Lennon, Bob Marley, Bruce Lee, Marlon Brando, and Jimi Hendrix. He even taught Bob Marley how to play the didgeridoo, while Marley introduced him to marijuana. Gulpilil later worked with filmmaker Claire Dennis again when she made a documentary about his life, My Name is Gulpilil, which premiered in 2021. Gulpilil was known for showcasing Aboriginal culture before it faced threats from colonization. However, there's a twist. In a way, his success took him away from his own roots. He felt caught between two worlds, the glitz and glam of fame and the traditions of his heritage. Sadly, David Gulpilil was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2017 and retired from acting in 2019. Because of his illness, he couldn't attend the 2019 NAIDOC Awards, where he received a Lifetime Achievement Award. David passed away in 2021 at his home in Australia. Following his passing, his family requested a period of respecting Aboriginal traditions, avoiding names of the deceased. Many news stories honored this request, mentioning his achievements without using his professional name. John Meillon as Walter Riley. John Meillon, the actor behind Walter Riley in Crocodile Dundee, started his acting journey young. At just 11, his voice filled the airwaves on an Australian radio show. The next year, he took the stage for the first time. By 16, he was part of a prestigious Shakespearean acting group. Early in his career, Meillon appeared in many Australian TV plays. Like many actors in the 1950s and 60s, he ventured to England to hone his craft. Interestingly, he actively avoided taking on Australian roles while there. He believed theater work instilled discipline, while television lacked the same training value. Back in Australia, Meillon landed a recurring role in the TV series My Name's Magooly, What's Yours? He even appeared in a spin-off show later. Fans of the classic Australian show Skippy might recognize him from a couple of episodes where he played Nimble Norris. His deep, rich voice made him a natural for voiceover work. He's probably most famous for his iconic line, "You can get it any old way," as the narrator for Victoria Bitterbeer. Meillon's talent was recognized by the Queen in 1979 when he was awarded an OBE for his contributions to theater. Not only was he an actor, but in 1977 he even released a single. John was married twice. His first marriage to actress June Salter in 1958 produced a son, John Meillon Jr. Sadly, they divorced in 1971. He found love again with actress Bunny Gibson in 1972. And they had another son together. A true pub enthusiast, Meillon had a special place in his heart for the Oaks Pub in Neutral Bay. In 1980, they even named a bar after him, the John Meillon OBE Bar. He remained a loyal patron, visiting even the week before his passing. John Meillon tragically passed away from cirrhosis in 1989. Even though he's gone, his contribution to Australian acting is remembered through the prestigious Raymond Longford Lifetime Achievement Award he received posthumously. Mark Blum as Richard Mason. Mark Blum, the actor who played Richard Mason in the movie, was born and raised in Maplewood, New Jersey. His family background is Jewish. He excelled at Columbia High School, graduating in 1968 and even being inducted into their Hall of Fame years later, 2012. He then went on to college at the University of Pennsylvania. Blum wasn't just a big screen star, he was a versatile performer who graced the small screen as well. You might remember him from shows like Sweet Surrender, 1987, Capitol News, 1990, Frasier, 1997, and NYPD Blue, 1999. He even landed a recurring role as Ivan Mooney in the suspenseful series You, 2018. But his heart belonged to the stage. His performance as Al in the play Gus and Al earned him a prestigious Obie Award during the 1988-1989 season. For theater fans, he might be familiar from Broadway productions like Neil Simon's Lost in Yonkers, Gore Vidal's The Best Man, he did this one twice, and Richard Greenberg's The Assembled Parties. Mark wasn't just an actor, he was also passionate about teaching, serving on the faculty of HB Studio in New York City. Beyond acting, Mark was a strong advocate for actors' rights. He was actively involved with the Screen Actors Guild, serving on both the New York and national boards. Mark Blum was married to actress Janet Zarish. Sadly, Mark passed away from complications due to COVID-19 in 2020 at the age of 69. His talent is still celebrated, with dedications in season premieres of shows like You and Succession, and even the second episode of Billions Season 5. Reginald VelJohnson as Gus. Reginald VelJohnson, an actor known for his many cop roles, played an unnamed character in Crocodile Dundee, 1986. He's often seen as the go-to guy for police officer parts, like Detective David Sutton, alongside Tom Hanks in Turner and Hooch, 1989. Interestingly, he used the name Ivory Ocean for his ambulance driver role in Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins, 1985. His big break came in 1988 with the action movie Die Hard. Originally, Gene Hackman was cast as Sergeant Al Powell, but when he couldn't take the role, the producers went with VelJohnson, who was less well-known at the time. Filming in California for Die Hard took 9 months, and VelJohnson ended up liking the West Coast so much, he made it his permanent home. He even reprised Sergeant Powell in the sequel Die Hard 2, 1990, and even voiced the character in the 2002 video game Die Hard Vendetta. But 1989 was a big year for VelJohnson in another way. He landed the iconic role of police officer Carl Winslow on the sitcom Family Matters, which ran on ABC and later CBS. His wife on the show was Harriet Winslow, played by Jo Marie Payton. This show was actually a spin-off of another sitcom, Perfect Strangers, where VelJohnson made a single guest appearance, while Harriet was a recurring character. Family Matters ran for a successful 9 seasons, ending in 1998. VelJohnson's voice acting talents came into play again in 2021 when he voiced Principal Winslow in the animated adaptation of the comic book Invincible. Interestingly, in both the comic and the show, the main character attends a high school named after VelJohnson himself, and even the principal's name is a nod to his most famous role, Carl Winslow. He's also done voice work for other characters in the series. Plus, he reprised his role as David Sutton in the Disney Plus reboot of Turner and Hooch. As of 2023, you might even see him in progressive commercials as TV Dad, a fun play on his Carl Winslow character. VelJohnson has lived in various places throughout his career, including Raleigh, North Carolina, Los Angeles, and Oceanside, New York. He's never been married and doesn't have any children. Michael Lombard as Sam Charlton. Michael Lombard, the actor behind Sam Charlton in the movie, came from Italian roots. Both his parents emigrated from Giovinazzo, Bari, Italy, and settled in Gravesend, Brooklyn. He wasn't just a movie star. Michael's talent shined on stage, too. In 1977, he received a Drama Desk Award nomination for his performance in Otherwise Engaged. He later went on to win an Obie Award in 1991 for his role in What's Wrong with This Picture? Television audiences might recognize him from his role as Marshall Beck in the series Filthy Rich, 1982-1983. He also had guest appearances on many popular shows throughout his career, including Kojak, The Mary Tyler Moore Hour, The Rockford Files, Three's Company, Riptide, Spencer, For Hire, Miami Vice, The Cosby Show, and even several episodes of Law and Order and its spin-offs. Interestingly, he played different characters in his 4 appearances on Barney Miller, Steve Rackman as Donk. Steve Rackman, the muscle behind Donk in Crocodile Dundee, wasn't always an actor. Before hitting the silver screen, the British-born Steve spent his youth building his physique, boxing, and working security at tough bars. This tough guy persona translated well when he stepped into the world of professional wrestling in Australia. In the early 1970s, Steve became a beloved villain on the popular World Championship Wrestling show on Channel 9. He battled alongside other wrestling stars like Larry O'Dea, Mario Milano, and Bulldog Brower, facing off against iconic names like Andre the Giant in front of roaring crowds. After wrestling's World Championship folded, Steve found a new career path in acting. His first role was as the imposing German miner Karl in The Last of the Knucklemen, 1979, where he tangled with the boss. He then took on some truly unique roles, like a monstrous wolfman hunting escaped prisoners in Turkey Shoot, 1982, and a part in At Last, Bulamakanka, The Motion Picture, 1983. With over 40 movies and countless commercials under his belt, Steve has earned a well-deserved semi-retirement. These days, you can find him running his gym in Coogee, Sydney, Australia. Caitlyn Clark as Simone. Caitlyn Clark, who played the friendly Simone in Crocodile Dundee, 1986, hailed from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The eldest of 5 sisters, she moved to Sewickley with her family at the age of 10. Education was important to Caitlyn. She earned a bachelor's degree in theater from Mount Holyoke College in 1974, followed by a master's degree in fine arts from the prestigious Yale School of Drama in 1978. At Yale, she even performed in plays like Tales from the Vienna Woods with the Yale Repertory Theater. After appearing in 3 Broadway shows in 1985, she ventured out to Los Angeles for a few years, seeking film and television roles. The early 1990s saw her return to her theatrical roots, including a Broadway performance as Charlotte Cardoza in Titanic. Sadly, Caitlyn was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2000. She returned to her hometown of Pittsburgh, where she shared her passion for theater by teaching at the University of Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Musical Theater's Rao Conservatory. She also continued acting in local productions until her passing on September 9, 2004. Anne Carlisle as Gwendolyn. Anne Carlisle, the actress who brought Gwendolyn to life in Crocodile Dundee, 1986, is a multi-talented artist. She's probably best known for co-writing and starring in the 1982 cult classic film Liquid Sky, where she played both the lead female and her male counterpart. She also had a small role in Desperately Seeking Susan, 1985. Beyond acting, Anne has graced the pages of Playboy magazine in 1984. There's even exciting news for Liquid Sky fans. A sequel is in the works. Director Slava Zuckerman confirmed plans for Liquid Sky 2 in 2014, with Anne reprising her role as Margaret. But Anne isn't just about the silver screen. For the past 5 decades, she's also been a dedicated visual artist. Her artistic journey began under the guidance of Reuben Hale at Palm Beach Community College, followed by studies at the School of Visual Arts and New York University's Art Therapy program. Currently, Anne has her own art studio in Boynton Beach, Florida. She's also a founding member of a nonprofit organization called the Artwork of Reuben Hale. Established in 2019, their mission is to transform the artist's former home into a public space, showcasing his work as a historic artist's studio and sculpture garden. And Francine as Fran. Fran, played by the talented Anne Francine in Crocodile Dundee, 1986, had a long and impressive career. Born in Atlantic City, New Jersey, to wealthy parents, she grew up in the Philadelphia suburbs. Her love for singing blossomed early, and she won an amateur contest in her youth. This led to a successful career as a cabaret singer in the 1930s, performing at iconic venues like the Coq Rouge, Copacabana, and the Algonquin. She even performed abroad in London and Paris during the 1940s, with songs like The Lamp is Low and Raggedy Ann becoming her signature tunes. In 1954, she made her Broadway debut alongside Shirley Booth in By the Beautiful Sea. She went on to have a remarkable theater career, including replacing B. Arthur as Vera Charles in the 1966 Broadway production of Mame, starring Angela Lansbury. They even reprised their roles in the 1983 revival. Her last Broadway appearance was in 1987 as Mrs. Harcourt in Anything Goes. Television audiences might recognize her from her villainous portrayal of Flora Simpson Riley in the American series Harper Valley PTA. She even took on the role of the Evil Queen in a musical adaptation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1979. While film roles were less frequent, she did appear in movies like Federico Fellini's Juliet of the Spirits, 1965, Stand Up and Be Counted, 1972, Savages, 1972, and of course Crocodile Dundee, 1986. Her dedication to the arts extended beyond performing. Even after suffering a stroke in 1992 that left her unable to speak, she continued to teach aspiring cabaret singers at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Connecticut. Sadly, she passed away in a Connecticut hospital in 1999 after complications from the stroke. Her legacy lives on through her impressive career and the inspiration she provided to countless singers and performers. Sullivan Walker as Tall Man. Sullivan Walker, the actor who played the tall man in the movie, was born in Trinidad and Tobago in 1946. He grew up in the city of San Fernando and even started his career there as a teacher at St. Paul's Anglican School. But teaching wasn't his only passion. Sullivan was drawn to acting and landed roles in television shows like The Cosby Show, where he played Dr. James Harmon, a friend of Cliff Huxtable's, from 1988 to 1991. He also made guest appearances on shows like The Pretender, The Sentinel, and Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. One of his most notable roles was on the series Earth 2, 1994-1995, where he played Yale in almost every episode. Yale was a cybernetic advisor to Devon Adair and a tutor to her son. His last acting credit was in the 2005 movie Get Rich or Die Tryin'. Sullivan wasn't just a screen actor, though. He also graced the Broadway stage in August Wilson's Two Trains Running. In his later years, he even championed the cause of Caribbean actors in the American film and television industry, hoping to create opportunities for them through workshops and schools. Sadly, Sullivan passed away from a heart attack in 2012 at his Los Angeles home. He was only 65 years old. He is survived by his daughter, Caitlyn Clark. Terry Gill as Duffy. Terry Gill, the actor who played the leader of the kangaroo shooters in Crocodile Dundee, 1986, had a long and varied career in Australian entertainment. Born in England, he moved to Australia with his wife, actress Carol Ann Gill. While he never met his biological father, he found a family in the acting world. Gill was a familiar face on Australian television. He played recurring roles in shows like the prison drama Prisoner, the medical drama The Flying Doctors, and the police drama Blue Heelers. He even made a guest appearance on the iconic soap opera Neighbours. For a whopping 27 years, he brought Christmas cheer to Australian homes by portraying Santa Claus on the annual carols by candlelight. Later years even saw him sharing the spotlight with beloved children's entertainers High Five and the legendary Humphrey B. Bear. Beyond acting, Terry and his wife, Carol Ann, ran the Tivoli Theatre restaurant in Melbourne for many years. The venue became a hub for Australian performers, hosting pantomimes and theatrical productions. Terry and Carol Ann were married for an impressive 52 years until his passing. They had 2 children together. Sadly, Terry suffered a stroke in late 2014 and later battled lung cancer. He passed away in 2015 in the Richmond suburb of Melbourne. Jerry Skilton as Nugget. Jerry Skilton will always be remembered for playing Nugget, a character he brought to life in all 3 Crocodile Dundee movies. His portrayal was so popular that with Paul Hogan's blessing, he even brought Nugget back for a proposed reality show called Nugget Gets a Life in 2010. Skilton himself funded the project and hoped to get it picked up by a network. But Nugget wasn't his only role. Skilton also played Wayne Churchill in the Australian miniseries Cyclone Tracy, 1986, Corporal Andy Crilly, a ship's cook, in the British-Australian miniseries The Heroes, 1989, and Reggie Muddle in the Australian film Mr. Reliable, 1996, Barry Kivel as Coke Snorter. Barry Kivel's acting career kicked off with a memorable role in the 1984 baseball drama The Natural. He played a character alongside Robert Redford's Roy Hobbs, a baseball player with a roller coaster career. Next up was a dramatic turn in Turk 182, 1985, alongside Timothy Hutton, Robert Urich, and Kim Cattrall. The 1990s saw Kivel in a variety of films, including the comedy Soap Dish, 1991, with Sally Field, Robert Downey Jr., and Kevin Kline. He even landed 2 film roles in 1992, Memoirs of an Invisible Man and the TV movie Carol Leifer, Gaudy, Bawdy, and Blue. Sci-fi took center stage in 1993 with Coneheads, a comedy where Kivel played a doctor. He returned to comedies in 1994's Attack of the 5'2" Women. In 1996, Kivel showed his range with 2 contrasting roles. First, he appeared in the neo-noir crime thriller Bound, a story of a woman seeking escape from her mob boyfriend through an affair with an ex-con. Later that year, he played Mr. Yates Jr. in the romantic comedy One Fine Day. After a 4-year break from film, Kivel returned in 2000's Body and Soul, a boxing drama where he played Willie. The film follows a small-town boxer who loses his way in Reno, Nevada. In 2002, Kivel starred alongside Ray Mancini, Mia Sara, and Costas Mandylor in Turn of Faith. This drama explores the lives of 3 childhood friends who take vastly different paths. Kivel took a turn behind the camera in 2005, directing, producing, and acting in the short drama 3 Sides. The film follows a young woman searching for her biological mother, forcing others to confront their own choices. More recently, Kivel has been involved in the futuristic thriller Q4 Dream Corporation, 2016, which explores government manipulation of sleep patterns. He's also credited on the upcoming baseball documentary, The Natural, the Best There Ever Was. Linda Kozlowski as Sue Charlton. Linda Kozlowski's big break came in 1986 when she landed the female lead opposite Paul Hogan in the Australian film Crocodile Dundee. Their on-screen chemistry sparked a real-life romance, and their relationship blossomed during filming. Prior to her breakthrough, Kozlowski honed her craft in the 1981-1982 off-Broadway production of How It All Began. She made her Broadway debut as Miss Forsyth in Death of a Salesman and reprised the role in the 1985 film adaptation. Kozlowski's captivating performance in Crocodile Dundee garnered recognition, and in 1987, she received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actress. She reprised her starring role alongside Hogan in the 1988 sequel, Crocodile Dundee 2. That same year, she showcased her versatility, appearing in the film Pass the Ammo with Bill Paxton, Tim Curry, and Annie Potts, as well as the TV miniseries Favorite Son. Kozlowski's career continued to flourish, and she appeared in several films throughout the 1990s, including Almost an Angel, 1990, Backstreet Justice, 1994, with Paul Sorvino, The Neighbor, 1994, with Rod Steiger, and Village of the Damned, 1995. In 2001, she reunited with Hogan for the 3rd installment of the Crocodile Dundee franchise, Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. However, Kozlowski eventually grew dissatisfied with the roles she was being offered, finding them unfulfilling. She shared her frustration, stating, "These straight-to-video schlocky films I was getting were giving me an ulcer, mainly because I was the only one on set who cared about everything. Between that and my biological clock, I decided to step away from acting." Kozlowski and Hogan's relationship evolved from their initial collaboration on Crocodile Dundee in 1986, and they became a couple after the release of the second film in the series in 1988. They married on May 5, 1990, after Hogan divorced his previous wife, Noeline. The couple initially tried to settle in Australia, but eventually relocated to Los Angeles in the late 1990s. Together, Kozlowski and Hogan welcomed a son named Chance. Kozlowski had been married once before meeting Hogan. Unfortunately, their marriage came to an end when Kozlowski filed for divorce in October 2013, citing irreconcilable differences. We've seen how the cast has transformed over the years. Some have kept busy in Hollywood, while others have chosen different paths. But before you head out, let's hear from you. Who stole the show in Crocodile Dundee for you? Was it the one and only Mick Dundee, or maybe the unforgettable Sue Charlton brought to life by Linda Kozlowski? Hit the comments and share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe for more dives into movie history, and thanks for watching.